Hey everybody, how you doing? Shall we do some Clues by Sam? We have another hard one today. It's Sunday, and if you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it's a daily puzzle game where you have 20 people on a board. Each of them may be a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure out what each person is using the clues that they themselves give you. You gotta do no guessing, and if you want to try it, there is a link in the description. I encourage you to do so. Or if you just want to follow along, or maybe I can help you with something if you watch the video, because I'm going to start right away. Let's go. Well, we have Tom telling us that Nicole is one of two innocents above Sophia. Nicole is an innocent. There's two of them above Sophia, three people in total above her, so Gus or Bobby has to be the second innocent. And now Nicole tells us that everybody has at least two criminal neighbors. How does that help me? Lately it's been this. Me having a hard time figuring out how clues are supposed to help me. Everyone has at least two criminal neighbors. Oh, I get it. That's Alice. We know that Alice is going to have one criminal neighbor here who's either going to be Bobby or Gus. So she has to have a second one because everyone has at least two. And the only person who could be her second one is Irving. So we know for sure that Irving is a criminal. And now Irving tells us that column B is the only column with exactly three innocents. We know about two of them, so that's Nicole and Bobby or Gus. So that's two. We know that the third one is going to be either Sophia or Wally. And what does that bring us to? Vicky is in the same situation as Alice. Vicky has one criminal neighbor here who's either going to be Sophia or Wally. And the second one can only be Rose. So we know that Rose is also a criminal. And since we know that column B is the only column with exactly three innocents, then we know that there has to be at least one more criminal among Alice, Martin, and Vicky. So is that the next thing we gotta look at? I don't think so. Let's look at Rose's clue. Irving has exactly three innocent neighbors. So Irving has two innocent neighbors so far. One of them is either Bobby or Gus. The second one is Nicole. And the third one is gotta be Martin or Alice. Oh, new color here. So that's the third one. Which tells us that, yeah, there is a third criminal here in column A. Or am I miscounting this? Three innocent neighbors. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So if we look now, do we look at Rose? Because let's just think about Nicole telling us that everyone has at least two criminal neighbors. Rose is going to have one of them here, either Sophia or Wally. And she has to have either Martin or Vicky be a second one. Could both of them be criminal? I think so. There's nothing telling me that they couldn't. So how do I look at it? Do I have to look at Wally? I don't think so. Who do I look at? Only one column has exactly three innocents. That tells us only that there may be columns with 4 innocents or more, and that there may be columns with 2 innocents or less. So by having column A have 3 criminals, that makes it so that it could have 2 innocents. So let me look at how many criminal neighbors the people we can analyze have. I started saying that maybe I should look at Wally because Wally has 1 criminal neighbor here. He could have even 4 of them. If everyone here is a criminal, there's nothing telling us that they couldn't be all criminals. Should I tag? Sophia also has 1 criminal neighbor here, and there's lots of people who could be criminal around her. So I'm not worried about that. Nicole is in the same situation. Gus is for sure gonna have 2 criminal neighbors. Do we look at Bobby? Bobby already has 1 criminal neighbor here. But he could have another one in column C, even if everyone here is innocent. So what else am I looking at? Vicky is gonna have 2 criminal neighbors. What about Rose? Rose has 1 criminal neighbor here. Right? If Martin were to be an innocent, which he could be, Rose would have to have Vicky be a criminal so that she has 2 criminal neighbors, which is the minimum amount that she could have. And then Alice would be a criminal. And that makes it so Irving has 3 innocent neighbors. That works. I guess the thing is that we couldn't have Martin be a criminal and Vicky be an innocent. Because if that's the case, there's nothing. I said that I guessed that and then I guessed it wrong because there's nothing breaking anything if we make Martin a criminal. Now Rose still has 2 criminal neighbors. Irving still has 3 innocent ones. Column A doesn't have 3 innocent people, so that doesn't matter. And now Wally would have to have Xena be a criminal. Unless Sophia is a criminal. Is there something that I should know about that I'm not seeing? Don't yell at me. Tell me nicely. Or do I have to look at other columns? It's gonna be a tag show then, if I have to do that. Nicole already has 2 criminal neighbors. Tom's gonna have 1 here. He has to have 1 more, but that is very possible. There's 5 people who could be the second one. Let me go back to Wally then. And let's make Xena a criminal because she would have to be. Actually, let's ignore Xena. Let's look at Sophia and try to make her a criminal. If she is a criminal, Wally has 2 criminal neighbors already. That's good for us. Rose, there's no way she couldn't have 2. Martin already has 2, so that isn't a problem for us. Irving is gonna have 2, so that's also not a problem for us. And Wally has 2. Okay, if Sophia is innocent, then Wally is a criminal. Either Vicky, can Vicky be a criminal? Yeah, this works also. Because now Wally has 2 criminals. I guess what we know is that these are a one or the other. Along with these 2. Or am I missing something? Do I have to look at column C? Because is there a possibility that someone there doesn't have 2 criminal neighbors? Carl, maybe? Carl's gonna have 1 criminal neighbor here. Jason's gonna have 1 here. Olivia doesn't have anyone yet, but she has a lot of people who could be criminals around her. What about Tom? Tom has 1 criminal neighbor here. This is a one or the other. With Martin. Because Rose needs a 2nd criminal neighbor. But she could have 3. You could have both Martin and Vicky be criminals. So they are not a one or the other. This works as well. Because Wally, yeah. So these are not a one or the other. Ignore that. Shall we look at Tom then? If Tom has 1 criminal neighbor here. This is really hard. I'm failing to understand where do I have to look. Column A might have 1 innocent or none. We have to make it so that column C doesn't have 3 innocents. So let me go through that direction. Nicole has 2 criminal neighbors. That's fine. Let me think about Olivia, because Olivia has no criminal neighbors yet. If I try to make both Gus and Sophia criminals, how does that go for us? Because now Olivia has 2 criminal neighbors. What about Bobby? Bobby now has 2 criminal neighbors as well. And Wally has 2 criminal neighbors. Sophia still doesn't have 2. Oh. How long is this in? That I haven't realized that Zoe has to have these 2 big criminals. I told you not to yell at me. Be patient. Okay, so now we have 2 new clues. Uma telling us that Pam and Erwin have an equal number of innocent neighbors, and we know that's 3, so we know that Pam has to have 3 innocent neighbors. Which means that one person here is a criminal. And Zena tells us that Tom and Bobby have an equal number of criminal neighbors. Okay, we're gonna have to work those two together. Because, first of all, Daniel has to have 2 criminal neighbors, right? That's not a clue that's sad, but is a clue that has to be abided by because everyone has at least 2 criminal neighbors. So Daniel has to have 2. One thing that we know is that this configuration is impossible. Why? Because now column C has 3 innocent people, and that can't happen since only column B has 3 innocents. Even though Daniel has 2 criminal neighbors, which he needs to have, and Pam has 3 innocent neighbors, which she needs to have. What about Zena's clue? Tom and Bobby have an equal number of criminal neighbors. So that would tell us that Tom would have to have the same number as Bobby. So this configuration is impossible. Which means that Kyle has to be an innocent. And one of these two, is an innocent and the other one a criminal. So that Pam can total 3. And that person has to be Jason. Because Daniel still needs 2 criminal neighbors. Right? So Kyle has to be an innocent. And these 2 have to be criminal. Which also tells us that Olivia has to be innocent because Pam needs 3 innocent neighbors. Now Carl tells us that exactly 1 innocent in column B is neighboring Nicole. Column B. So we know now that Sophia and Gus are one or the other as well. Because only one of them is an innocent since both of them are in column B and both of them neighbor Nicole, who is also in column B. Now Olivia tells us that only one of the 2 innocents in the corners is in column A, which tells us that Alice and Daniel are one or the other, and both Vicky. How many colors do we have? Zoe and Vicky are one or the other as well. Okay, so now we have a whole party on the board. And we gotta find who is a person who doesn't have 2 criminal neighbors. And try to break that down. Carl is for sure gonna have 2 because he has Jason already, and either Bobby or Gus are gonna be the second one. Pam has 2 already, so that's fine. Olivia is gonna have... Olivia already has 2, so that doesn't matter. Tom. We know about Tom and Bobby having an equal number of criminal neighbors. Bobby so far has 3, which means that Tom has to have 3 too. And the third one's gonna be either Sophia or Wally. So... the fourth one goes by... if either Alice or Gus are criminals or innocents. Lots of things. Sophia already has 2. Wally already has 2. Uma. Uma is gonna have to have a second one. So far she only has Zena. So that makes Zoe and Pam Does it make them one or the other, or does it make them both criminals? If they are, also, I hope you weren't yelling at me about this, but Olivia said that one of the two innocents in the corners is in column A, and I did row 1 for that. So these are the ones that are one or the other, and these are the ones that are one or the other. So we know we're gonna have a second innocent here besides Kyle, which means that Pam couldn't be an innocent, because then column D would have 3 innocents, and that's not possible. Only column B has 3 innocents. So we know that Pam is a criminal now. And what do we know about Alice and Vicky? Because now Uma has 2 criminal neighbors, so that doesn't tell us anything about Zoe. What does it tell us about Vicky and Alice? Because Alice and Martin are one or the other, right? So if Martin is an innocent, Alice is a criminal. And if Alice is a criminal, Vicky is an innocent. And that doesn't work, because Rose needs a second criminal neighbor. So Martin couldn't be an innocent. Nice. I'm glad I caught myself there. Guess I don't need Tom School anymore. But now we know something. We know lots of things. Bobby has 3 criminal neighbors. He could only have 1 more if Gus is criminal. Tom already has 4. It's Pam, Uma, Zena, and either Sophia or Wally. For sure there's going to be 1 more criminal here, so that's 4. Which means Zoe couldn't be a criminal because there's no way for Bobby to have 5 criminal neighbors. And Gus has to be a criminal because it's the only way for Bobby to have 4 criminal neighbors, as does Tom. So Gus is a criminal, which means that Bobby is an innocent, which means that Sophia is an innocent, which means that Wally is a criminal. And Zoe is an innocent. And because of Zoe, Daniel is a criminal. That was the fastest solve after so much doubt in the beginning. I'm sorry if this was a slower one, because I really didn't want to make a mistake like I did yesterday and wanted to prove everything. And I think I did a good job on that. And I hope I explained my logic there and you could learn something or just enjoy the video. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back here again tomorrow playing Clues by Sam again. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.